Links for Odysee, BitChute, the other various channels. Support me on Coffee or with crypto. If there's ever a message to teach you to homeschool your kids, I was thinking homeschooling is, well, you've got one teacher and like one or two or three or four kids. It would be, obviously it's more efficient if you could get like a bunch of neighborhood kids together to meet in one home. The parents could all pay a small fee to provide, whatever, for someone, for their trouble. And you could have like small neighborhood homeschools where you could teach a more nationalist, Eurocentric perspective, or even a more just, you want to say it's a conservative or a Christian, whatever. Something that is an anthem to the basically openly Bolshevik. If you saw what happened in Sacramento with that guy, Jippy, who was he's got a communist tattoo, who was busted for brainwashing the kids. The only way to counter brainwashing is homeschools or small private schools where you've got fierce nationalist perspectives. You've got to have right-wing perspectives, Eurocentric perspectives to balance out this Bolshevik brainwashing. And you can only do that with time with the kids. So, it's trying to take this high road and trying to take the high road is just a losing proposition when you have people who are on the left who are taking the low road. It's like you can't just, we'll counter the 8 hours in school with a half hour message at home. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that way. You have to educate the kids. You have to shape them the way you want them to grow up, even if that just means don't drink anyone's Kool-Aid. Always, think for yourself. Ask who benefits, follow the money. Who's the man behind the curtain in every scenario? Always trace back to money. So QAnon and anti-vaxxers brainwash kids stuck at home now teaches, one person's brainwashing is another person's education. So one freedom fighter is another terrorist. Salvador Rodriguez. So the children of Q conspiracy followers are using digital tools to help the detox process. Okay, how do you know what you know? How do you trust your source? Oh, well, the school board said it's trustworthy. So Weingarten is an unbiased source. Always, maybe take a close look at the school board, see who's running those things. So some 15% of Americans believe QAnon conspiracy theories. Oh, God, Q seems a little cringe to me. Don't drink the Kool-Aid, whether it's coming from the right or the left. Always think and say, oh, your anonymous source, is there any way we can verify this information? No? Okay, well, then it's almost useless information. Another brainwashing source called Checkology is designed to teach people how to sift through the myriad of misinformation, conspiracy theories found on social media apps. Okay, so who funds Checkology? Who controls Checkology? Who are the people? What are their biases? Always look to a source and go, what are your biases before we start down this path? And if they're keeping those things hidden, then it's garbage. You can throw it out. Or do a little investigation, find out what their biases are. And you're like, oh, you guys are actually funded by China, Russia, or Israel. It's like, oh, okay, you didn't feel comfortable about maybe being upfront with that. Oh, we didn't feel it was relevant. Really? Because mostly in science, you want to find out somebody's bias right up front. So a 7th grade useful idiot teacher in Alabama was asked about confusion surrounding the elections, where she knew she had a big job in front of her. I'm going to have to read. Thing is, there's a lot of people on the left and the right who are just parrots. We want to live in a high trust society. We want to trust information. We don't live in a high trust society. You have to find your own tribe and your own sources. And you can't say, oh, okay, well, CNN agrees with me or Fox agrees with me this time, so they're trustworthy sources. Well, they've already been impeached as to their veracity several times over the past 5 years. If they've been shown to be liars repeatedly, then you have to throw them out and just go to a new source. Go, but it's on the TV. It's so easy. I just want to access this easy source. It's not a source. It's saccharine. It looks like food. It smells like food. It's not. It's propaganda. It's like, well, who controls the media? Oh, it's like a handful of companies control 95% of the mainstream media. Well, who are they? Do they have a bias? Of course they do. Okay, so you've got brainwashing coming from the schools. There are facts. There have been committees who reviewed the election. Okay, well, who are they? What are their biases? Are they on the left or on the right? If they're on the left, they're going to have a left-wing bias. Oh, no. Yes. I feel like, what was that, Cartman? I got to find a way to reach these kids. Right, we got to find a way to brainwash these kids. The numbers show us the truth, but the social media bubbles confuse us about the truth. What is the truth? What is the ultimate truth? Well, depends who's telling you. Depends who's telling you. Okay, so this has shown what the homeschooling during the Wu flu has made these people crap their pants. Because, listen, education department, they're openly far, far left, communist, Bolsheviks, Marxists. They're insane people. And you had people who were doing these digital educations from the teachers, and like parents were looking at this and like, oh, this is what you're brainwashing the kids with? All this critical theory? This is just out of the cultural Bolshevik school, the Frankfurt school. This is a bunch of communists from 100 years ago, over 100 years ago, brainwashing these kids. The only way to counter that is homeschool. There's no way you're going to balance indoctrination in schools with a little homemade like family time on Sunday. The only way to do it is get kids out of schools, which is expensive. And here's the thing, like, if we tried to crowdfund this, like, yeah, we're going to do a crowdfund this homeschool thing, you'd probably get kicked off the payment processors, the platforms, for being far right. So to counter far left propaganda with freedom of speech, open discourse is a far right viewpoint. That's like saying the Antifa was protesting the anti-vax Nazis. Like, maybe you want to rethink your position a little bit. So she's saying that it's bad enough the kids are exposed to dangerous untruths across their favorite social media apps. Oh my gosh, if only we could control all of social media. If only we could control the entire flow of information. We have soon. So QAnon seems awfully cringe. 22% of Americans self-identify as anti-vaxxers. People, I don't think we're anti-vax. I'm definitely not anti-science. We're vaxxed. Most people have vaccines. People are anti an experimental substance that has no long-term studies, where the science is very, very soft. And I'm not hearing the science. I'm hearing appeals to authority and appeals to emotion and Chicken Little Sky is Falling stuff. They keep making these emotional appeals, and I'm waiting for the news to say, okay, here are the studies. Because the truth of the matter is, the studies are real soft because there are no long-term studies. Because physics and causality, you can't go to the future and come back again. I'm saying there are no long-term studies because not enough time has passed. Long-term studies are long-term studies. It takes 20 years, it takes 40 years. What's a generation? It's going to take several generations to see the fallout from these vaccines, and it turns out like, oh, they're not effective against these new variants. Well, are they more harmful than effective? Oh, we don't know because we don't know long-term side effects. Then why are you giving them? Because I don't think it's about the medicine or the science, because if it's about science, then everything will be on the table. You'll be able to have open discussions. It's not about science, it's about controlling the narrative and about control. Like, governments, people in power don't want to give up power. They want more power. You see what's happening in Australia? They're using this compliance. Just wear a mask. Just take a shot. Just take another shot. It's a medical emergency. Well, then, if you're using medical emergencies to take away liberty, you're going to create medical emergencies to take away liberty. Oh, hey, the Patriot Act. Really makes you think, doesn't it? Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Think. Don't drink the Kool-Aid left or right. Anyone's Kool-Aid. Yeah, they want total control. You know, anti-vax, you mean pro-science? Pro-science? The people with the freedom to choose? People who want to see some receipts? Okay, where's the documentation on this? Because all I'm hearing is emotional appeals. Oh, trust the science. Trust us. The thing is, we don't trust... we don't trust the mainstream media because you people have an agenda. You're reptiles. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, guys. I'll see you on the next episode.